Hi there, it's Carol with Carol B Crafts. Today we'll be making card number 3 in my Rooted in Nature online card class. Now the Class A and Class B kits will be available through August 31st, 2018, and you can get the details on how you can get the class kits free as my gift to you with a $35 minimum purchase using the current host code on my website www.carolbcrafts.com. The kit includes the materials that you need to make 4 cards. Now this is card number 3 and we will be making that today. I'll be giving the dimensions as we go along, so if you don't have the kit yet, you could still replicate the card at home. Now in my online classes, everything comes cut and pre-scored for you except for the things that you'll cut with the bundle that comes, the dies that come with the bundle. And the bundle that we'll be using is the Rooted in Nature bundle. It's a 2-stamp set, and it also comes, the bundle comes with the Nature's Roots framelits dies. Now you can purchase these separately, but if you buy them together as a bundle, then you can get 10% off the price. And let's see, the stamps that we'll be using today are just for you and to thank you for all you do, but we're going to mask off to thank you. Let's see, and then inside is you are wonderful. So those are the stamps that we'll be using along with the 3-leaf and then this little frilly leaf right here. Let's look at the stuff that we have in the kit. Now we have the Thick Whisper White card base pre-scored for you. And some of the elements are not from, like this element that comes pre-cut is from the Stitch Labels Framelits dies, and it's this die right here. I love the Stitch Labels dies. I think they are a nice addition to what we have to use for our sentiments. These 2 little Whisper White stitch circles come from the Stitch Shapes Framelits dies, and it uses the smallest die in that set from the circles. We have some Grapefruit Grove cardstock, 4.5 by 2 1/8. That's going to be for to stamp and cut our little frilly leaves. And then we have a piece of 2 1/8 and 5.5 crumb cake to cut our 3 leaves, 2 of those. And then we have a piece of 2 3/4 by 5.5 crumb cake to cut the stump that's underneath. And the stump we will be cutting ourselves because there's not a die for that, but it's pretty easy to cut. You have 2 pieces of Whisper White, 4 inches by 3/8 of an inch for the banner. For our card, the large card panel, we have crumb cake. That's 5 1/4 by 4, 5 1/4 by 4, and it is embossed with the new striped circles, striped scallops, striped scallops folder. So that's a new one, and it's done with the stripes going vertical. So that will go on our Whisper White. Then on top of that, we're going to have a piece of DSP from the Nature's Poem. Now I've run this piece and this piece from the Nature's Poem through the Subtle Dynamic folder. And it just kind of puts a nice little texture to make it stand out. Now these pieces of DSP is 2 by 4, and it's going to go here. And then we have another piece of the DSP that's 4 by 3 1/4. It'll go there, 4 by 3 1/4. Then this piece that is 3 7/8 by 2 is going to go here. And let's see, so we'll cut out our stump, and then that all will go there. And inside sentiment, we have it'll be going horizontal or landscape, so it'll be 4 1/4 by 3 1/2 with 2 pieces of Whisper White that are 4 by 3 1/4 to put our sentiment "You Are Wonderful" on. And let's see, inside our envelope we have two medium basic jewels, pearls, and I've colored those with the light Stampin' Blends marker, the light Calypso Coral. And then we have the smallest pearl basic jewel colored with the light Calypso Coral. Now for the ribbon, we have ribbon going across here, and then we have a bow. For the part that's going across, we have a smaller piece. It is 7 inches. This is the Grapefruit Grove gross grain ribbon, and it is 9 inches. So we have a 7 and 9 inch piece. And did I leave anything else out? We have the envelope, which we can set aside. Alright, I think that's everything. So we'll go ahead and do our stamping. So we'll need to get these 2 pieces and our inside sentiment, and then our little circles that we're going to stamp Just For You on. Everything else we can set aside for now. Oh, we will need to stamp on these 3 pieces, the 2 pieces of crumb cake and the Grapefruit Grove as well. I forgot about the leaves. We have to stamp those too. Okay, so let's get, we will need our Stamparatus. So we'll go ahead and get our Stamparatus or other stamp positioner that you have. Now in my video too, I explained to you that I have used a shim with my Stamparatus to raise up the level so that I don't have to push so hard to get a good image. So you might want to do the same. I have made this little out of chipboard and magnetic adhesive magnetic sheeting, and I've laminated some of the grid paper that we have. But if you don't have that, I've found that you can use the thin die adapter. It's just about the same width as, and then you can just use that and it stays in place pretty well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and bring this in, and I've also covered my magnets with some plastic moving tape. I also have a piece of the window sheet, clear plastic that we sell, 4 by 6, to use like we use the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. We will stamp on the plastic and then we'll position our paper underneath, remove the plastic, and stamp. So we'll go ahead and put our plastic in the corner. We'll make sure everything is in the corner there and stays in the corner. Doesn't move, because it's important that the plastic stays in the corner when you are making your image. I like to put my stamp case underneath here. Let me move these over here out of the way. I like to put my stamp case underneath. I'll use this one since we're not using any stamps from this one. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Just For You. We'll start with that one. It's the tiniest one, I think, in the bunch. So Just For You, I'm going to put it about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the plastic and pick it up. Now I want that on one of these circles, and I want it to be even. So that circle is going to be kind of small to use a magnet on. So I'm going to take a piece of grid paper that I've cut in, just scrap grid paper that I've cut in quarters. Put a little bit of snail on the back to hold it in place, and I'll put it on this plastic, on the paper. And I need my Grapefruit Grove because that's the ink that we're using. Open it up and ink up my stamp to get my beginning image. Okay, that shows me where it's going to stamp. So then I'm just going to place my circle, and I may need to move my circle over a little bit because it's kind of too close to this edge here. Okay, so now that looks good. So I'm going to bring in my other magnet, and you do want to keep these separate. You do not want them together. And then I'm going to lift this up, remove the plastic, put that in place. Now I'm ready to stamp my image on my circle. Now if you have the Stamp-O-Majig, you could still use the Stamp-O-Majig or another positioner tool. I'm not going to push really hard. I don't want my letters squished. Okay, that looks good, so I'm done with my Just For You, but if you need to, you've got the extra one. I'll clean off my sheet here, the little baby wipe, and then I'm going to dry it with the microfiber cloth that we use for our with our glasses. So I'll remove this because this is done, and it's best if you twist it off and not pull it off. Okay, so those are ready. And then the next one is going to be a little bit harder because it's so small. But that's going to be to thank you for all you do, but it's going to be just for you for all you do. Now, we're going to have to mask. Let me clean off my stamp here. I'm going to have to mask off some of the stamp. So we'll go ahead and get the thank you for all you do stamp. So we'll put our plastic back in place, put it down there so that it stays and holds it. Put our to thank you for all you do about 1/4 of an inch from there. Now you don't have to mask it the first time when you go to stamp it for your image on the plastic, because you're going to be able to see, and if you want to, you could even just wipe off the part you don't need. So we have for all you do. Now we'll get in our scrap paper on the back. We're going to put a little bit of adhesive, and I may need to move that out of the way. So I just want this to be near the edge enough so that I can make a little flag, and then I want it to be even, so that looks about right there. So I'll move this, put that down. Now I'll have to clean off my stamp because I stamped the image, and dry it off. Now if I had masked it before, I wouldn't have to do this, but it's your choice. You can mask it twice or just dry it off. And I'll make sure, I'll use a scrap piece of paper just to make sure that that is good and dry and it's not going to stamp on my. So for all you do, so I'm just going to mask off to thank you. And then I'm going to ink it up. And remove this. Now it's ready to just flip over, gently push down. For all you do. So that's ready. We can dry this off, clean this off. Okay, so we can remove this now. Again, I'm just going to try to twist it off or pull it off sideways. I don't want to pull it up. Just want to pull it sideways or twist it. Okay, Okay, so we have for all you do. Now we want to do the inside sentiment, and remember it's going to be horizontal. So we'll put our plastic in place again and get the You Are Wonderful stamp, and make sure it's going in the right direction, and it's 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. Pick it up. Now this paper, you don't really need to attach it to plastic, to this paper, the grid paper, because it's big enough that you can actually set it under there and put something on it. So you'll see what I mean. So we'll go ahead and ink up our image, You Are Wonderful. Get that out of the way. So it's not quite straight. That's okay, because I can move this around till it is straight. When I like what it looks like, I can put this in place, and then I can remove this, put that down just to kind of hold the corner there. Ink it up again. Gently press down. Now I like that, but I'm going to just do another light coverage, just to make sure that it gets filled in, because it is a big stamp. Lightly pressing down. Because I've used that lift, I don't have to press nearly as hard to get a good image. Okay, so I have my You Are Wonderful to go on the inside. Clean off my stamp. Okay, for the next stamping, we won't need to use our plastic sheeting. We can just use, put the cardstock right here on that, because we're just going to stamp a couple of the, let me get the stamp, these little, I just call them the frilly leaves. I don't know what they're called, but the little frilly leaves. I'm going to turn that around. And it looks like I got something on there. I need to clean it off. Okay, so I'm going to want to stamp 2 of these, so I want to leave plenty of room to stamp 2. And I don't know if I'll need to do the image twice. If I do, it'll be nice that I'm using the Stamparatus, because I can do that easily enough. There's my first. Yeah, I think I'm going to do twice, just because I want a nice rich color on those leaves so they stand out. Now I'm just going to move my paper down a little bit here to stamp another one. Make sure everything is in place. And now I'll ink it up again. Stamp. Ink it up again. Stamp. Okay, now these are ready to cut out with our dies. And next we're going to do the 3 leaves. So we'll use the smaller of the crumb cake. Let me clean this off. And then we're going to use the 3 leaves. Go ahead and put this one in place. We need 2 of these. We're going to use soft suede ink for these. And let's see if I need 2. Probably don't, but I'm gonna go ahead anyway, just because I can. There, that's good. And then I'm just going to move this down a little bit till I can stamp another one. And that's good. Okay, these are ready to die cut. Now the last thing we have to do is the big stamp. Let me clean this off. Okay, so we have the big tree stump stamp and we only need one. So I'm going to put that kind of there. You can always use the back if you mess up on this one, because I think you can only fit one in the front when you use your magnets. So we'll go ahead and get this, pick it up, use our soft suede. This is just a really cool stamp here. I think a lot of people love this stamp like me. Look at that. Is that not awesome? Now I'm going to do it just one more time. I might not even need to, but well, let me make sure I get it good and inked up. There. Love the Stamparatus for this reason. Alright, so now I have my tree stump and I'll be cutting that one out by hand. So let me clear all this away. Okay, so we're ready to die cut. Now the leaves, the 3 leaves, we're going to use this die to cut those. And then we're going to use this die to cut the frilly leaves. And like I said, there's not a die for the tree stump, but we can cut that out by hand. Now I'll use my clear Scotch Magic tape to hold this down in place while I run it through the Big Shot. I'm going to do that twice, and then I will also do the leaves. And we're just going to do it like we did normally, would just cut a leaf. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have our 2 frilly leaves and our 2 3 leaves here. So be sure to remove your dies before you throw your scraps away. Now for the tree stump, we're just going to cut that out. You can use any scissors that you have. I don't like to use my little snips. I saved those for my ribbon. So I'm going to use these little scissors that I have here instead. And I'm cutting along the edge and kind of moving my scissors with the pattern of the stump. I'm not cutting the V's yet, the little V's that are in there, because I'm going to come back and do those. Okay, so we have all of our little die cuts out, die cut and ready to go. So we can start building our card. So let's bring in everything else that we have. Our stamped images that we did. Let's see, let's go ahead and do our flag. I will use my, so I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch off there. You just have to judge what you need to cut to make your little flag. I'm going to cut in the middle, and then from one corner to the center and one corner to the center, and then I have my little flag. Now we'll be trimming that, but I won't know exactly how much I need to trim quite yet. So let's see, let's get everything here set out. Let's go ahead and find the valley and fold away. Make sure your corners match before you crease it with your bone folder. Now we do need to put some ribbon on, so we don't want to put this on the front yet. We'll go ahead and build onto this. So this wood grain is going to go not 1/4 of an inch, but more than 1/8 of an inch from the left edge. Okay, so we have that. And now on top of that's going to be our Grapefruit Grove pattern. We want it 1/2 inch from the top and a little less than, more than 1/4, less than 1/2 on the edge. So you just kind of have to eyeball it. Okay, that looks good. The important thing is that it's even here on the edge. And that, it doesn't look level, does it? So I'm going to have to take it off. Luckily I can still, because this is embossed on the bottom, it makes it easier to remove. Thank goodness, huh? Okay, that looks better. I don't know before what happened. Alright, so now I'll push it down when I'm happy with it. It should be more over here on the edge, but it doesn't, it's not that important. It's still going to look nice. Alright, so this piece is going to go 3/8 of an inch from the top there and along the edge here. And again, level. We want it level. That's the important part. Alright, so now then we're going to put the ribbon on just above. Now that's the 7-inch ribbon, gross grain ribbon, just above, like 1/8 of an inch above, and it's going to go all the way around. So we'll put some adhesive on the back where we think the ribbon is going to end up when we twist it around there. Put it across the front like this. Pushing it in the back and bringing it across the front. It looks like I need to bring a little bit more, and I need a little more adhesive back here. Okay. It's not that difficult, really. It's not. Alright, I think that's going to do it. And then bring it around. And stick that in. Now it's a little low on this side. That's a good thing about being able to play with it. You can play with it till you like it. Oh goodness. I should just measure it and mark it, and then I wouldn't have to do this. Okay, that looks good. Now it's ready to go on our card front. I'll put some adhesive on the ribbons to keep them in place. Okay, so now we're ready to build our little focal point. And I like to have this big V. I kind of like to have it down here, right here. I think it looks good. And we're going to put that on with some mini glue dots. Not mini glue dots. I always say mini glue dots. Mini dimensionals. I don't know why I can't get that right. No, we want to have it off of the paper, so we're definitely going to use mini dimensionals. And we want this kind of here in the corner, about 1/2 inch from the edge of the crumb cake, and about about 3/4 of an inch from the, well, let's see. Yeah, about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. So right about there. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and put the Just For You. And then that's ready to go on the front, and we're going to do that with one big glue dot in the center because we need to leave room to put our leaves in. So in the center, level it off. Just For You. Okay. Actually, you probably wanted it a little off to the edge a little more, but this will work. Now these two leaves are going to go here. This leaf is going to go down here, and this leaf is going to go up here. So we just need to put those on with some glue dots. This time we are going to use the glue dots. So when you find that where you want them, go ahead and get your glue dots out. I'll put one on the bottom of each, the two bottom leaves. Twist and twist. I'm putting one there and there near the bottom in the center, and it's kind of just going to go kind of that direction. And then I think it's easier to put these two on first. Same thing. And then this is going to go kind of in this direction. Now these will go above the leaves. These leaves, they're going to go on top. So this one is going to go first. We'll just put a couple of glue dots on there near the bottoms and put it like right there. Maybe bring it out a little bit. There. And the same with this one. And this one's going to be kind of going in that direction, kind of down like this. Okay. Now let's see, what else do we have to do? We have to put our banner in. So we want the "for you, all you do" to show, but we don't want, so let's start, we may have to start big and then go small. I'm going to just slide that underneath there, and of course I need to trim a little bit more off. Trim a little more off until you can get it where you want it. Just want a little bit more. There we go. So I'll put some adhesive on that and slide it under there just above the ribbon for "all you do." Now I need to put the bow on, so we'll take our 9-inch bow and we're going to do the loops like we normally do, and then right over left to make the X like this, and then we're going to push this loop through the loop that we just made. Try to keep your ribbon flat, and then pull and adjust, pull and adjust, pull. Just keep that up till you get it to the size that you want. Okay, that looks about right. Maybe a little bit smaller. And then I like to take and push in the edges, the bow there, to get it more puffy. Alright, so we're going to put that on down here. You can put it there or here on the, wherever you like it. I think I'm going to put it on the edge there of the stump with some glue dots. I'm just going to put a glue dot behind that knot and squeeze, and then one more and squeeze, and kind of push it back behind there, and then put it in the corner here. There, that's good. And then just trim your edges. You can do it at an angle to make it look kind of pretty. So all we have left to do then is to put our colored pearls on, and I'll use my piercing tool for that. The little one is going to go up here by the J just for you. And then these three are going to go 1, 2, 3 right there. I'll do the one on the edge first and then just walk over with them. Try to keep them even. Those alcohol markers are really nice. You can make your pearls any color that you want with the alcohol, the Stampin' Blend markers. Okay, that's it. Oh wait, no it's not. We have to put our inside sentiment in. Okay, now that's it. Alright, so we have our card. I hope you enjoyed making that with me. And stay tuned for card number 4 in my Class B of the Rooted in Nature. And check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to get your free kit to make 4 beautiful cards. Thanks for watching. Bye now.